Winning Edge Africa. This is your mentor call that we get to do. Now, of course, sometimes it's just Sandy or myself or Sashin or all three of us. I think next week it's all three of us.
Yes, Sashin's in town.
He's in town. It's all three of us hanging out with you. This mentor call is one of my sweet spots. I know you're incredibly good at it, and that is your network, how to connect, and how to actually build your network, because your network is your net worth. And we're going to come together today and give you some of our insights, some ideas. I'm going to interview this one. We have a guest that's going to join us a little later on that I'm very excited about. He's been on a bunch of the Idol shows, and Simon Cowell and these people have all seen him. He became a world sensation. He's from Australia. He's recently moved to Los Angeles. And actually this weekend, we're doing an event with him, Snoop Dogg, Chris Martin from Coldplay. I think Akon's going to join us, Beyonce, and Elon Musk.
Yes,
I know.
It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it's an event we're doing this weekend. Sashin's actually flying out to be at that event, which is pretty incredible. But we'll tell you about him. He's going to be joining us in a little while. He's very impressive. So hang out for that. Okay, so today is around, can I use the word connecting?
Yeah, why not?
Because people call it networking.
No, networking is so 2015. We don't network around here. We connect.
Yeah, there's a difference between connecting and networking. Now, I know you guys are network experts, and that's the key, but it's connecting experts is what I want to elevate you to. Because when you connect with somebody, you actually connect internally with them. Because most of the time when people are out networking, they look at what the surface has to offer, and that only gets you this deep. You want to go this deep, if not more, because networking with someone gives you a quick something, where connecting with somebody gives you a long-term relationship. And we are into relationship management here, right? Relationship management is what's going to allow you not just to create a living, but make a life. So you don't want to create just a living, but make a life. I'm going to constantly just mute people every once in a while because they like to pop in and have their mics hot, which is okay. But I want to make sure that everybody, your mics are all muted right now. All your mics are muted. Okay. So what do you consider networking versus connecting, or vice versa?
Well, I believe that when you're networking, you're out to meet people for an end goal, but you don't really care that much about them. So you go to events to network. Who can I meet? Who can I meet? Who can get me to that next person, to get me to the people that I need to get wherever I'm going? And in the long term, networking is not that great. Yeah, you'll meet some people, but you're not going to build the connections that are going to really make magic happen.
I would like you to use networking events to find your connections.
Yes.
Okay, do you agree with that?
Use networking events to find your connections. That's absolutely right. And you can even have networking events, but when you're at these events, don't think of it as networking. Think of it as an opportunity to connect. So Ken is the best at this. He has relationships with people that are mind-blowing. Everyone's like, how do you know this guy? And how is this guy willing to drop everything and fly across the world for you? And it's because he doesn't just network. He doesn't go and meet these people and, oh, nice, can I have a business card? Oh, we should connect on LinkedIn and Facebook. Oh, we're friends. No, he gets to know them. He asks them about their families. What is their story? Who are they? Where do they live? Where are they from? What makes them unique? He doesn't even ask them straight up what their job is. He gets to know who they are as people. And then they go, wow, I've really connected with you. I want to keep this relationship strong. And they will make an effort to keep that connection. Forget the networking. The networking just happens.
Yeah, okay. So very important what Sandy just said. And that is people are willing to change the way they are to be around me. Now, I am nothing that's special. I'm not. But I have found the secret to where people's passions are. First, what is everyone's favorite word? Everyone has a favorite word. Sandy's favorite word is different than your favorite word, but it's something that's similar. So if I say something over and over again, that magic word that tantalizes you, do you know what that word is?
For me?
Yeah.
Or for you?
It's actually...
Maybe you know better. Tell me, you've connected with me. What's my magic word?
It's the same magic word that everybody else has, but it's different, but it's the same. You ready?
Yes.
It's your name.
I know, he's so right. The problem is Ken's dad is married to a woman named Sandy, and I have a friend, her name is Sandy, so there's so many Sandys. I hear my name all the time, so I'm kind of like, huh? Kind of tune it out a little bit, but I still like my name.
But the name, your name, is actually the favorite thing that you have. You may not go, oh, I don't like my name, but it's what you respond to because you have been literally raised by that name to get you to react and respond. So if somebody uses it the right way, it gets you to be motivated to move in a certain direction. Your name is your secret combination. Their name is their secret combination. So when you use somebody's name over and over again, Sandy, you look great today. Sandy, I love what you did on your post. Sandy, 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 Sandy. I'm so connected now to that person.
Ken, you're so sweet. Ken, you're so funny. Ken, you're so smart. All the things you're saying, Ken, are perfectly correct.
Yes. So understand by utilizing a person's name properly, which means is know how to say their name. Okay, I'm going to say something about Sasha.
Oh, yeah.
He's not here. You ready? He pronounces my last name wrong.
Yeah, he can't say it, period. I mean, as long as we've known, and well, you say his name wrong as well. So
Sashin.
Sashin.
Right, Sashin.
Yeah, like a sash on a dress.
But I call him Sash because it sounds kind of cool. But Sashin, I get it. But my last name, which differentiates me.
We've told him like 15 times. He still says it wrong.
No, I love the guy. I really do. I love him, and I accept that. It's Rakowski. He calls me Ratowski or something that's so messed up. But in a normal environment, if I really didn't know him and he would try to address me, I would say by the third time, I would just count him out.
Yep, true.
Right? How about you?
Oh, for sure. No one ever says my last name correctly. It's Grimsby, Grimsby.
Yeah, but you rule them out after a while.
Well, actually, it's not even my last name because I just don't tell people my last name because I never can say it. But my first name is Sandy. The moment someone calls me Sandra, I'm checked out. I don't hear you. I don't see you. I don't know who you are because it doesn't even connect with me at all. And I even will correct people and say, my name is Sandy. And they later will continue to say Sandra. No longer do they hold value for me. They're gone.
And this is important because many people address somebody, for example, my name's Ken. It's not Kenneth or Kenny. There are 3 people that call me Kenny. You know who they are. The only one that calls me Kenneth was my mother or my grandmother, and that's when I got in trouble. So you want to know, here, I'm giving you basic secrets that are mind-blowing because if you use them properly, they're basic, but they do work. Know exactly how somebody wants to be called.
A good example, we have multiple friends named William.
Yes.
And one goes by Bill, one goes by Bobby, one goes by Billy. We have Will. All of them are different. But one person in particular, he only likes to be called William.
Yes.
If you call him Will or Willie or Bob or Billy, he will check out. He will ignore you.
And he's a multi-billionaire. I'm talking US billionaire. And he controls some of the biggest gaming companies. Now, if you want access to him, and a lot of people want access, they'll go up to him and go, hey, Bill, he's turned you off.
Done. Bye-bye.
So imagine just one word turning somebody on or completely turning them off. And it's their name. So this is my suggestion right away. If you're about to go meet somebody you want access to, somebody that's speaking at an event, somebody that you really admire and you know they're in town doing a book signing or whatever it is, your first access to them is their name. Find out how they like to be called. I go watch YouTube videos. I go see how other people refer to them, especially loved ones, and I use that in my favor. YouTube, thank you for teaching me how to call that person. If it's on Instagram, at times they will say on Instagram how they like to be referred to. Like Sasha now likes to be called Sir.
So
Sasha, how are you? Yes. No, but remember, name is your access point to everything.
Now, here's the thing. If your name is unusual.
Yeah, tell me what you do in that situation.
Well, first of all, when you say your name, don't assume that someone can easily say it back. Some words and letters and vowels and sounds are very difficult for people, especially people who speak multiple languages. So if your name is unusual, say it and then give them a reference. Like the way I remember how to say Sashin's name is, he specifically said to me, Sashin. And I made a joke like it sounds like a sash on a dress in something. And so I could always remember how to say his name. So if you have an unusual name, make a funny reference or something that people can remember it by. And one extra tip is on a social media platform that you use, for example, Instagram. I love it when someone's name is really unusual. They make a sound out way. Like, you know, when you go to the dictionary and it says a word and it says how to say that word, that's fabulous. Do something that people can say your name, and it helps them remember your name easier.
So there's an actual term for this. I'm going to see if you can read it. Do you see what it's called? Try it out.
Which one?
This one right here.
Ecologically oriented, oh God. Neurohabilitation of memory.
That's what that's called.
I can say
He did say it. And that is applying something Sandy is sand. I think about a beach, a sandy beach.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden when I look at her, I think of a sandy beach and where I may have met her the first time.
Ah, yes. Was it on the beach? No.
No, it wasn't on the beach. It wasn't on the beach. But you use different terms. And Jim Quick has taught this over and over again.
Yes.
You use something of reference. So what you do is I look at Sandy. I say, hello, Sandy. Nice to meet you. And when I'm looking at Sandy, I look at her forehead and think of that association that I have. And that's sand. Sandy.
So watch this. I'm going to mess with Ken.
Oh, no. What's her name?
All right. I think we've done enough on naming. Let's move forward.
But again, remember, the naming is the most important, person's first name. And if you can't say your name properly, because what I generally do is this. Another thing I do, when I meet somebody, I shake their hand. And while I'm shaking their hand, I ask for the pronunciation of their name. I maintain a social connection to the individual while they're saying it, because I want them to know that I'm present. Okay.
No creepy handshakes, though.
I met Bill Clinton, the former US president, twice. The first time I met him, he said my name. He said my name a second time. He looked at me saying my name. 4 years later, I met Bill Clinton, different environment. He came up to me, shook my hand, and said my name right back to me. Nobody reminded him who I was, but he remembered because he uses the whole phrase of remembering. I'm probably a Ken doll, right?
Yeah.
Which I will be for Halloween.
Yes.
But remember, name association is super important. Can you see everybody that's here?
Yes.
I'm wondering if one of our
Into gallery
guests
view.
let's see, do we have a guest that's popping on here yet? Get another page.
Oh boy, so many pages today.
He is not here yet. At least I don't think he is.
Nope.
Okay, when he joins us, we're looking for Emmanuel. So Laura, if once Emmanuel pops in, let us know, okay? Once you see Emmanuel, let us know when Emmanuel comes in. Okay, so here's another situation, and that is, remember, our goal through this whole call is to help you build your network to have great connections. I'm going to give you some secret ways of doing this to where you can literally make millions, US millions, I think they call them dollar bill millions, of dollars by creating a real network. And it's a different type of network that you've learned in network marketing. It's a different type of network. My network literally is designed to allow my life to evolve in a very healthy way. Same thing with Sandy. Her network allows her to evolve in a very healthy way. And that's right, Emmanuel Kelly. Oh, there's Emmanuel right there.
There
So
he is.
Emmanuel Kelly, if you could unmute him, he's on the iPhone. Let's see.
Let's do it up here.
You can do it? Okay, hang on, guys. I have to, there he is. Let me unmute Emmanuel. I want to do that.
Emmanuel, can you hear us? Can we can see you.
I can see him. Can
I
you
don't think he's muted.
Emmanuel, are you muted? I don't think so. He's moving his hair around to look handsome.
He's styling himself.
He's styling his hair.
He's being fancy.
No, his hair. No, his phone is unmuted.
You're unmuted, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you, buddy. We can't hear you, buddy. You have to figure out how to unmute Emmanuel. Come on, Emmanuel. We'll figure that out, okay?
All right, he'll be back in just a
He'll be
minute.
back. He'll be unmuted. All right, here we go. Maybe it's this spot right here. I'm always nervous about hitting this. Maybe it's right. Hang on, Emmanuel. What are you using as your name? Just iPhone?
It is just iPhone. That's it.
Yeah,
He's unmuted.
let's see. He is unmuted. That's him. Emmanuel, it says you're muted.
You guys there?
There you are. All right.
There we go.
Spotlight him.
Very
Emmanuel
confusing.
Kelly.
Technology. I'm an Arab from the desert, therefore I don't know technology.
Yeah, but nobody knows that, okay? So do us a favor, Emmanuel. I'm going to ask you, what is your background? Tell us about Emmanuel Kelly. Who is Emmanuel Kelly?
Hi guys, so I'm Emmanuel Kelly. I like long walks on the beach. No, I'm just
No, come on.
No, on a serious note, I'm originally from Iraq. I was actually found in a box in a park in Iraq by two soldiers who one day were just shooting at each other on a battlefield, and they heard this child baby cry. And the soldiers walked towards the baby, put their guns to the side, took it to an orphanage. They saw this box and they took this box to an orphanage where I was then raised for the next 7 years. And during those 7 years, I saw executions, I saw bombings going off constantly. On a number of occasions, I was almost executed. I saw more hatred in the world as a 6-year-old than most people have seen in a lifetime. And in those 7 years, 6 years, than most people had seen in a lifetime. And it was quite brutal. On top of all this, I was also a 6-year-old with another boy, Ahmed Kelly, who I had met in the orphanage. Ahmed, his name is, who became my brother. And we were the only ones that were mentally abled in the orphanage. So every day we would be changing kids' diapers from the age of 5 to 7. I would be changing kids' diapers. I would be feeding them with my brother. I mean, we would have to go up this hill, a huge hill every day to get water for the orphanage so we could use. We'd have showers one day, and that hill, by the way, was filled with landmines. Like, it was just a very extreme upbringing. But something miraculous happened when I was around 5 years old. This incredible woman, Moira Kelly, had heard about my brother and I. She came to the orphanage and met us for the day. And I remember 3 days before she came to the orphanage, I thought three things. I thought, one, can this woman help us, and will she help us? And the second thing is, what does she look like? And is she an angel? And thirdly, is she going to actually come? That was kind of a thought that was in my head. It was that doubt, right? And I sat on a window ledge for 3 days straight, waiting, and she finally arrived. And then I remember thinking also, how on earth did this extremely white woman get in this country? Because she did get in, and I remember thinking, she is an angel. It took her 2 years, and finally she got my brother and I out of Iraq, took us to Australia, where we spent the rest of our lives there. And during that time, from about the age of 7 to 17, I had 6 surgeries. I learned how to walk for the first time. I went to school for the first time.
You were born, people don't realize because they can't see that. Legs?
I have one leg, one wonky looking leg on the left, and no leg on the right. So I'm no amputee. I was born without a leg on the right side. 3 fingers. Well, actually 1 finger originally, and then they kind of turned my right hand into a proper hand, so I can grasp things like this. So. Hold bottles and things like that.
No, that's from surgery.
That was from surgery. And I was born with no lower limb on my left. And then I was also born with an incredibly attractive face.
Okay. Tell me real quick. You do not call it handicap. You called it?
No, I call it differently abled.
Differently abled. And differently abled. And this whole idea of, hey, I'm just different, gave you the confidence to actually try out for a TV show in Australia.
It did, 100%. So when I was 17, 16 and a half, I auditioned for Australia's Got Talent. And I never made it, right? But then when I was and didn't get through. So when I was 17, I auditioned again and didn't make it again, didn't make it through. But that same year, I also auditioned for X Factor, and I made it through. And so it was the 3rd time lucky I made it through. And I remember singing Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley or Leonard Cohen. And yeah, they accepted me and they said, this is amazing. And I went to the live auditions. And by the way, I had to have 4 auditions before I even made the live auditions, which is insane. And then when I made the live auditions, I had to go through a massive screening process again for that live audition to actually make it on TV. And then I finally made it right through. And when I made it through, I sung Imagine by John Lennon.
How did that go? Give us a little.
How did it go?
Let's hear a little Imagine.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. There you go. So
that's not that good. That's okay.
I'm clapping for everyone who can't clap.
Emmanuel, so that video went viral.
It did.
It went all around the world. You
Went
became
crazy.
a world sensation. And let's fast forward a little. Chris Martin from Coldplay connected with you.
He did. So yeah, the video went viral. It got over 1 billion views online just through all different platforms and things like that. And it just went crazy. And one of those people was Chris, who saw the video. And it was funny because I met this guy. This man gives me a call one day. His name's Dr. Habib Sadeghi. And he calls me and he says, hi, Emmanuel, my friend. And, you know, I love you. You're an amazing guy. And I'm thinking, first of all, I don't know you. How could you love me? And second of all, this is a very, very strange phone call. And he says, listen, I want to meet up. And he meets up with me. He takes a video of me saying, hi, Chris, my name's Emmanuel, then Chris sends that to Chris. Chris responds saying, yes, I just saw this video a few days ago. Can he join our tour? And Habib goes, well, here's his number, call him. And, you know, we're in Hollywood. So when people say they'll call you, I mean, the likeliness of that happening is like, you know, I don't know. The likeliness of that happening is like Trump becoming president, except he actually did become president. So
Then that was terrible likeliness.
it feels so unlikely in the moment, right? And then it happens, right? And so I get this phone call from Chris, and he says, hi, I'm Chris from the band Coldplay. And I'm thinking to myself, my godfather answered the phone and he puts it on loudspeaker. And I'm thinking, first of all, I'm the Pope, as if you're Chris Martin. That's just not the case. And my godfather kind of takes the message and he says, you know, I'm really Chris. And my godfather goes, so, okay, no worries. So Chris Marin from Coal Moon. And he goes, no, it's Coldplay. And he goes, okay, Coldplay. And I'm thinking to myself, Peter, you're ruining this. Anyway, eventually it hangs up the phone. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Hanging up the phone on Chris Martin. And he goes, well, he just seems fake, but you heard it. You know, here's his number. I mean, and I'm like, Peter, it's a blocked number. There is no number. And 5 minutes later, he calls back and he goes, hi, this is really Chris from Coldplay. Please don't hang up on me. And I'm like, Chris, I'm so sorry. You don't understand. I'm in Utah right now. And it's a very volatile area. There's not a lot of technology and service in Utah. So I'm really, really sorry. And I actually was in Utah at the time. And he goes, no, I understand. Listen, Emmanuel, does your godfather know who we are? And I'm like, he probably doesn't. He probably lives under a rock. He's from Australia. He doesn't know a lot. And he goes, well, listen, we want you to come on our tour. And so lo and behold, I ended up going on a tour with, jumping on the tour as their guest, a special guest in Australia. And then I ended up doing a few other shows over the year, and Chris ended up jumping on as a mentor. And before I knew it, that mentorship turned into producing, and he ended up producing my first album, which I just finished. And it's exciting. It's insane. And the funny part about Coldplay is probably the third or fourth song I ever learned was Scientist by Coldplay.
Okay. Now let's talk about you as a person going through a journey. Today's mentor call is all around relationships and connections. Where have you messed up on the relationships that you have met? And how did you judge people the way you used to compared to the way you do today? So looking at people and creating relationships in the past, did you mess up on relationships at all?
Big time. Absolutely. I think everyone does when you first start off. I was a 17-year-old boy And immediately overnight, I had instant fame. The whole world knew about me. The whole world knew me. And so when it came to building relationships, I had no idea what I was doing. I was learning about people, but in a way that was completely wrong. I was taking people's relationships not because of maybe where they could take me in my career and, you know, building that relationship as a friendship, but more so just because, you know, they were cool, or they were famous, or they knew someone, or they said they knew someone, instead of actually verifying it. I was very naive. I believed everything that everyone told me. I never did my research. And the big one, I think, for me was, I'm a strong believer today that relationships are currency, and currency can be seen in many different forms. You know, time is a form of currency. Friendship, actual love for someone is a form of currency. Money, obviously, everyone knows money, right? And so for me, it wasn't about, okay, can I make money? Or no, it was, how can I be friends with this person so I can, you know, and I just assumed friendship would get me somewhere, but I didn't realize that certain currencies and certain friendships are used for different senses. And if you're not blunt and honest about what you want from the very beginning, and if you're not plain and simple and direct with what you want from the very beginning, and fully open up and create full disclosure from the very beginning with what you're looking for, then the likeliness of that person understanding you and seeing you as a potential currency maker is very unlikely. And so it becomes, it's trying to navigate that became the most difficult thing for me. And so because of that reason, excuse my language, but I ended up fucking over myself completely. And I ended up having managers who stole money from me. I ended up going to people and sometimes saying too much as well, which also stuffed me up, right? So it was just learning that. So yeah, to answer your question, I definitely fucked up with relationships in the past. And I had to take full accountability, because at the end of the day, it's my fault. It's my career. It's my future. It's not theirs. And I need to be servicing myself in order to service others, right? And I had to think about myself. And instead of thinking about myself, I always thought about others constantly. And I was never honest with myself or them. I always tried to swindle, or I always tried to convince someone something, and without realizing that, hey, if someone's not convinced in me, and if someone's not sold in me, whether it's through friendship or through a business relationship or both, then they don't have a part in my life. And there was actually a very wise man, and he's on this phone call right now, or this thing actually told me something very, very wise, which I took it to account, and I started to put it into action about a year and a half ago. And he said, you are a product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Right. And unfortunately, I was a product of the 5 people I spent the most time with. I created, instead of creating what's the word? Not a barrier, but I'm thinking of the word, like a line of where what type of friends or what type of people you should be looking at. I was so obsessed with just getting into Hollywood that I didn't realize I have a career and I need to focus on that. And therefore the friends I need to create need to be of the caliber that I am. And therefore I need to put myself in a higher caliber, because I had so much dislove for myself and almost a feeling of no confidence that in myself and in what I can do and in my gift, that I brought myself to that level. And when I brought myself to that level, I attracted those types of relationships, people that were at a low level instead. And I know that sounds terrible, but
no, but you're right. Hey, real quick, people, if you have a question for Emmanuel, please put it inside the chat. Emmanuel is here in your mentor call. We are talking about connections and relationships. I'm Ken Rakowski. This is Sandy Grigsby. I said it properly, and that's Emmanuel Kelly. Sandy, you have any questions for Emmanuel?
Yeah, actually. So Emmanuel, those are the things that you felt like you did wrong, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What did you feel like you did right?
I started to listen more to the people that know more than me. I started to realize that even though I'm 25, I can't act like a 25-year-old who thinks he knows everything, even though sometimes I still do. So listening was a big part of it. I started to, there's that saying, smart people, successful, really successful people are very good at putting people that are smarter than them around them, right, in order to continue that success. And I had to realize I had to put some smart people around me. I had to start looking at that. So I started to listen a lot more. I started to, look into mentors. Ken is a mentor of mine in so many different ways. So I started to, and even you are, Sandy, in many different ways, are a mentor to me. I started to listen to those people that know more than me. And when people gave me constructive criticism, instead of arguing it or challenging it, Sandy, I hope you don't mind me sharing this story. About 4 weeks ago, I was at your house, right? And you showed me my Instagram, and there was things in my Instagram that just didn't look good. And it was as simple as that, right? And in the past, I would have said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. I would have taken that as an offense when you gave it to me. And it was blunt. Like, it wasn't nice. It wasn't, oh, Emmanuel, this, that. No, it was, Emmanuel, this is shit, right? You need to fix it, right?
I did kind of say that tonight.
And in the past, I would
I
have
did it in
said,
a nice way. It wasn't like, this is shit. I was like, so your Instagram kind of sucks. You need to fix these 5 things.
It was still blunt. In the past, I would have looked at it and I would have said no, right? But instead, in the last 6 months, it's the one thing that I've been working on. And that's, you know what? This is a woman that knows what she's talking about when it comes to this space. This is a woman that knows, if she knows how to create someone's facial brand and someone's just inner brand in itself, right? So therefore, I need to take a step back and just listen, right? And then I need to put that into action and give it a go, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least I've given it a go. So, listening was probably the main thing that I changed. And it was honestly one of the only things I changed. The other thing I changed was I started to look at my friends, started to look at the people around me. There was a lot of people that were taking advantage of me constantly. There were a lot of people that were asking me to do freebies constantly because I'm their friend or whatever it was. Started to put my foot down and I said, look, I love you, I respect you, but you're not good for me, and you're not good for my self-confidence, and you're not good for my self-love, and therefore you're not good for my brand.
I think you summed it up perfectly right there, buddy. You summed it up. I want to make sure people realize that you're available. Your album, we don't call it albums anymore. Your songs are coming out. People want to hunt you down or find you. Where do they go?
They can go on Facebook, Instagram, Emmanuel Kelly Official, and you can go on Spotify today as well, and iTunes, and download the 2 songs that are available, which is Hello and Eat Us Never Alone. And just keep an eye out on my social media, Instagram, Facebook, and even Twitter. And YouTube, obviously, over the next, 3 to 6 months, because we've got, 2 or 3 songs going to be releasing over the next 3 to 6 months. So it's very exciting.
So can I ask a favor from you?
Yes.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok. Everyone keeps asking me I should be on it.
I just did my first TikTok yesterday.
You got to add Sandy on your TikTok.
All right. I will
2
create a TikTok today.
Yes, get on TikTok so you can follow Sandy, okay?
All right.
That's the fun one right there, all right? Emmanuel, thanks a lot for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Appreciate
right,
everyone.
See you soon.
See ya.
So Emmanuel Kelly, there you go. What an amazing individual. Emmanuel has done so many great things, and you better pay attention because he is just beginning. He is just beginning. All right, I know felt like a diversion, but it wasn't. He had so many great tips that he brought up that I think are super important for us to realize. And that is, you are the average of the 5 friends. Well, I'm going to actually say it a little differently. You are not the average of the 5 friends. You are the average of everybody you hang out with. Everybody. So there's a term in the business world. You know what HR is? Human resources, right?
Yes.
So there is a term.
It's like, that was a trick question. I'm like, did he have a number?
No. It's hard to do. In business, it's easier. It's slow to hire, fast to
fire.
Slow to hire, fast to fire. In your relationships with people, you need to apply the same methodology.
Mm-hmm.
Slow to hire, get to know them. I like what Emmanuel said. verify, trust but verify. And then once you find out they're not real, get rid of them.
We had to do that recently.
Yeah, actually somebody I really like, I admire, I had a really good friendship with, but I realized where that person was in their life was a cancer, and it could affect not just our relationship, but the people around us. And by firing them, pushing them away, I broke up with him. Could you imagine? I did. It was a breakup call, wasn't it?
It was a breakup.
I called him up and I literally said, we need time apart. Because I realized that this one person was causing chaos, not just between Sandy and I, but within our network of friends, because they saw us as beacons of opportunity. So if we're hanging out with good people, they felt, well, why don't we hang out with them too? So our relationship with that person was an endorsement of their credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, that's the same for you. People that see you with other people say, oh, that person's okay. That person's good.
Or if that person's not good, they think you're not good.
Credibility. The people you share time with are how you are perceived and how you actually become. So if you hang out with a bunch of losers, guess what you become? A loser. So our friends are an indication of what we are. Our friends are an indication of what we are. So I'm very impressed with the people you hang out with. I really am.
I only hang out with good people.
And it's interesting that you've somewhat taken some of my friends and they are now your network now too.
But only the good ones.
Only the good ones, yes. So your friends are a direct correlation of what you are.
It's hard to get rid of friends. I've had to do it throughout my life. And
you're going through it right now, kind of.
yeah, they're actually, I'm curating. I call it
That's
curating.
a great term. I like that.
Curating my friends list. It doesn't mean you just say to someone, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. It's over. Don't call me anymore. But you just make yourself gradually unavailable. So that could be you're just busy.
Not as successful.
You don't have to cut them off in the same way that you would a cancer, like just cut them out.
Some you do.
But some you can. You have to cut out the viruses. But for sure, if someone is just not serving you in a way that makes you a better person and it feels like the wrong group, they're not empowering you, they're just dragging you down. Come on, you know those people exist. The best way to cut them out is to degrade them, which means
demote, yes.
Or demote them,
yes,
correct.
Yes,
demote them, which means if they used to be on a pick up the phone and talk to you at any time relationship with you, maybe now it's only texts, or maybe they can only reach you on Messenger, or maybe they can only reach you in emails. So you can just demote them in the way that they connect with you, and that helps to phase people out. I actually have a recent story, which is very interesting.
Sure.
Kind of goes back to what Emmanuel Kelly said about how he had people who would use him and he would do things for them for free. I had a friend who married a woman who I thought was lovely. So I didn't ever give her the same prerequisites that I would give new people that I meet. I just assumed since she was married to my friend, she was amazing. So I immediately built a relationship with her and we became really close very quickly. But as the relationship would grow and I would incorporate her and him into my other relationships with friends, I would witness that they would latch on to my other friends for opportunities that served them best. They were in the entertainment industry. So if they were doing an event and they wanted to fill up their event, they would ask my friends, or they would have my friends host them, and they would start to manipulate the situation.
I'm not going
of
to
my
say the name
friends.
is the last name of him.
We're not going to say it. We're not going to say it. I don't know what you're talking about. No, we don't name drop these
I'm
things.
not saying a name. I just want to know.
So point is that I'm saying here is, as the years would go by, I would see this reoccurring theme. And then one day I found out that they threw a party for a lot of people, including my friends, and I wasn't invited.
Why weren't you invited?
I asked that question, why wasn't I invited? And the answer was, well, we felt like you didn't fit in with that group.
It's your friends.
But it was my friends. And that's when I started to curate them. And I would slowly disconnect myself from them. Long story short, it ended up that they started using me for my skill as a photographer. They didn't want to pay for it. They asked for freebies. They complained along the way, and it was a huge problem. It ate at my self-worth. It ate at my confidence, just like Emmanuel Kelly had said it did to him. And I was in a very low place in my life because I felt like these people who were supposed to be my friends that I did everything for weren't giving back to me the way that I was giving to them. So I ended up confronting them because I finally gathered all my confidence and I said, listen, I've done these things and you haven't appreciated it. And this is the reaction that you're giving me. And instead of an apology or what I'd expected to be a, oh my gosh, I'm sorry we're doing this, they went on the defensive and said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. You're not my friend.
Really?
And I was shocked, like completely floored. That was an awakening. They shocked me into severing them. I completely cut them off, didn't speak to them again for 3 years. 3 years. One day out of the blue, I get a text message from the woman saying that she accepts my apology, which I don't remember apologizing, and she would like to be friends again.
You just can't.
You just can't. So I was very cordial and I said, oh, thank you. I didn't acknowledge the accepted apology that I don't remember giving, but I said, thank you. I hope you're doing very well and I wish you the best.
And that's it?
And I never responded ever
You
again.
haven't talked to them?
Never. So what I'm saying is you either curate your list of friends or they will put you in a situation to force you to do it. But that might have a dramatic impact on your well-being, your self-worth, your confidence. And sometimes it blindsides you. I was friends with them for 5-6 years before that happened. And it was like a whap. But I'm grateful that it happened because it gave me the opportunity to now curate my friends better. I see when I feel like I'm being used or I have people that I'm introducing that are trying to feed at my network for their best interest. And I'm very selective of how I ebb and flow through my networking and my connecting.
I know generally we do a bio break right now.
Yes.
Do you want to do that or want to cut power through it?
Let's bio break.
Okay, we're gonna do a bio break. That means you could bring bio into you or bio out. That sounds wrong, okay?
That's not,
Yeah, no.
We're gonna have to redo that one.
So we're gonna take a 5-minute break. 5-minute break, by the way. What I like to do is when we come back, I want to see some questions on how you connect or how you network on what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Okay, so I know you're all building your networks right now. Do you go to networking events? Do you have networking events? What is your secret to networking? I'm going to give you a bunch of great hacks on ways you can use from airplanes to picnics to get people into your network to connect with. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break. We'll be back. We're back.
The party is starting again.
All right. Hey, this is Winning Edge. Yeah. It's great to have all you guys back. We're back from our bio breaks, and we're going to unmute microphones a little later on so you guys can ask questions directly to you. We do have questions coming in. I wanted to use our first question to actually talk about the next topic, okay? But before I do that, December 7th, what's going on December 7th?
Ooh, I think there's another Winning Edge.
There is, Winning Edge 2.0. So as Sashin got up at Winning Edge, he goes, this is our first, it's our worst. I remember him saying that. Fine, if you didn't like the first one or if you loved it, it's only getting better. We put a lot of time into Winning Edge 2.0, which is the 7th of December. We want to fill this place up, okay? So we are going to market this. It's really exciting what we're doing right now. We've been working with a lot of great broadcasters and personalities in South Africa. They're going to contribute to this next 2.0 event. The prices of the tickets are the same, which is great. So if you did the executive level, you want to do that again. If you didn't, you want to get to the CEO level, those are going to fill up really fast. But get over to the Winning Edge, winningedge.world, and get your tickets because they are going to sell up fast this one, okay? So get in there, do it, and you'll see things happen. All right. Can I ask, do you have a business card?
Yes,
Do you have it on
I
you?
do. And I rarely have a business card, but I found this one.
Let's see your business card. Whoa, there's a lot going on in that business card.
I know, it's me. It's me.
What's the back one?
It's my business. They all are different all the time. The pictures swap. Oh yeah. So sometimes I have like a girl with long hair. Sometimes I have a guy looking macho. My cards change except for the front part of my card here. This always stays the same because it's me.
My business card is actually this way. Here it is. My card, and there's a cool little saying on the back. Every one of them on the back has a different saying. Yes, I have a business. You have a business card.
I do. And mine are thick.
What do you think? No, yours thicker. So a question was, are business cards still relevant?
I'm going to have to go with yes, sometimes.
Okay. here's the deal, everyone. You have people that are my age.
Sometimes.
You have people that are Sandy's age and then younger. The people that have claimed success, they've gotten to that success level, are generally older because they've been in business a lot longer. They think like me, which means is they have a business card or a name card because that's how they've been raised throughout business. Younger generation are more digital. They're thinking, nah, I don't need one. You need to live in both paradigms. Because if you say, oh, I don't need a business card because that's not my generation, well, then you're not talking to the other generation. A business card to somebody is their easy way of giving you something so they don't have to go to your Android or iPhone and fill these. Yeah, come on. I hate doing that.
Especially on Androids if you're an iPhone, or on iPhones if you're an Android. It's really confusing.
Well, it's just confusing. And then on top of it, just taking the time, this is something that's like a storage mechanism. Here you go. Here's my name card. Take it. And what you do, especially if you're in Asia, you look at it and you bow like 4 or 5 times and you hand it to the other person. It's so true.
You do.
But in Asia, all of Asia, no matter what age you are, this name card is what they call it, represents identity. So if you don't give them a name card or a business card, they actually look down upon you. So wherever you're at in the world right now, maybe you don't believe in name cards or business cards. They are important in other parts of the world. My recommendation is have it. Use it. You may never. Do you have a number 2 pencil? You probably have one. Do you ever use it? No, but it's nice to have it whenever you might need it. So having a business card is like a number 2 pencil. Have it.
Have it.
Okay. So yes, name
Keep
cards.
it somewhere.
Yeah, and by the way, make it so it has 3 things that are really important. Your name, your email address, I hate to tell you this, a phone number, okay? And don't make it so it can't be scanned, because this is what I do. Every time I get a name card or business card, I go to Evernote. This is a great secret, everyone. I go to Evernote and I take a picture of it wherever I'm at. So when I was in Johannesburg, I took pictures of all the business cards I got. Evernote automatically GPS tags that business card. And then what it does is it automatically links it into my LinkedIn. We talked about how important LinkedIn is in the past. And then it adds them to my LinkedIn and it sends them an email from me thanking them for meeting one another and sending them all my contact details. And then it reminds me 2 weeks later to recontact them, all with one picture. So every time I'm in Johannesburg or wherever I'm at in the world, I press my GPS part of Evernote and it shows me all the people that I met in that part of the world. You like it?
That's pretty cool.
You can do it for free, by the way, on Evernote. Evernote allows you to do, I think, 100 business cards a month. If that's not enough for you, I think it's $50 a year, which is super dirt cheap. But that's my hack for name cards or business cards. What do you do when you get a business card?
When I get a business card,
Yeah, what do you do when you get one from somebody?
if I don't put it in my phone right away, I forget about it.
Do you really?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Everybody's different. And as Ken had said, you have to pay attention to the audience that you're giving your information to. So for me, I like business cards sometimes if it's something that I'm seriously interested in, as in a product or a service, and I'm like, oh, I might need that. But if it's a person, I forget who they are if it's not very clear on the business card. So having their company name and then having their name and then their contact information doesn't give me enough information. And sometimes I can't write on the business cards to say how I met them or who they were. And so I just forget about them. But if I put them on my phone right away, or I have my assistant do it, or I use something like Evernote, which I need to sign up for. That was a really good tip. Thanks, Ken. Or I have them put it in. I add the notes in there right at the same time. So I am a digital person. Pieces of paper is a distraction for me. So that's why I have business cards that I give to specific people when I'm out. But like I said, half the time I forget them because I'm not a paper person. So everybody's different.
So look at this, check this out. So as you look at I'm showing her my Evernote, okay? So like Paramount Pictures, but look at this one.
That's pretty fancy.
Do you see this
I
card
really
right
like this.
You see where that card's from?
Yeah.
You know where that is? That's Tulum. It actually shows me that person's picture automatically then too.
See, that's pretty cool. So I need to start using something like Evernote because otherwise I forget it. I have a bag, like a Ziploc bag. It's like that big and it's full of business cards.
What do you
and
do
I have
with them?
no idea who those people are.
Why do you scan them in?
because I forgot who they were because I didn't do it back when and I didn't leave my little notes. But anyone in my phone, I make sure to leave specific, clear notes. So if I met them at an event, so if I'm at a networking event, I say which event it was. And if I met them through someone, I say who that person was. So I make a reference, and I might even jot down something specific about them. Like if their name is kind of difficult to pronounce, I'll write down how to phonetically say their name. And if there's something interesting about them, like they have a cat named Bob who howls at the moon, I will note
That's
that in my
awesome.
notes.
Here's my suggestion. All those cards you have?
Yes. Burn them.
No.
Boy, they're really old. I don't remember anything.
Go to Evernote, scan all of them in, and then connect them into your LinkedIn.
That's why I hang out with this guy. He's so smart,
That's
right?
the way to do it. I'm not kidding. It's unbelievable. The business you'll get back. The two things I always tell people if they want to get their business resuscitated or bounce things around, first thing is you change your email address and announce it to everybody. I'm not using my whatever email address anymore.
AOL.com.
I'm using this brand new email address. This is how you get a hold of me. Yay! And then the second way is anything when it comes to getting married, even getting divorced, or having a baby.
Birth, yes.
Make sure you tell everybody that that's happening because they reconnect with you. So use your personal moments to reconnect with people, either when you change your email address, not your website, your email address, that's contact information, or when something in your life has changed. This brings people to you so you can reconnect with them. Always use those moments. Don't use your birthday, even though I like to, but that's a different thing. We'll talk about that later, okay? Hey, if you have any questions or comments or ideas, please add them to the chat. We're monitoring the chat. We're talking about ways of connecting with people, how you find networking. Now, many people are in the relationship management industry, the people that we're talking to today.
Yes.
Okay. And in the relationship management industry means you have to manage that relationship. Every relationship is different. And how I look at relationships are, because like Sandy and I actually met at a networking event. That's where we met. We did.
We were. Well, I wasn't networking. I was there to learn.
Yes.
I ended up networking.
Oh, we connected.
And then we connected.
But we went through
It worked out.
We went through a phase or a cycle of how relationships goes. Ours was obviously accelerated because there was a emotional connection, but I believe there are emotional connections, maybe not romantic, but emotional connections. So when you meet somebody right away, what do you find? You find if there's a parallel connection, and that could be association. I'm a dog lover too, or I was born in the same town. Sandy gets super excited when she meets anybody that's from a town called Fremont, California. Am I wrong?
It's just weird. I didn't know anyone when I lived in Fremont, and now that I'm not in Fremont, everyone's from Fremont. So all of a sudden, it's the connection.
You have a connection.
I know.
And what happens is now they have this bond because they're able to associate with something that they both or how many of they connect with, and that starts dialogue. So the key is once you find somebody that you like, hey, I like this person, you try to find a parallel connection. That parallel connection is what allows you to bond to one another. Now, that parallel connection is not, oh, you have nice hair and you don't have any hair. No, that is an association to the individual. A parallel connection is, I have a dog too. I love dogs. Or we travel just as much as you do. Let's talk about our favorite spots or favorite restaurants. Whatever that parallel connection is, that links, that bonds that person to you. Really important. Because if you can't find a parallel connection, that relationship kind of goes to the wayside. So you always try. What people do with Sandy is this. They meet Sandy right away and they want to talk about her industry. Oh, you're a photographer. And they literally try to either impress her by showing pictures that they have done of themselves, or they try to say, I know somebody in the photography industry also. There's no parallel connection that they're doing.
They're just boring me.
So how would somebody parallel connect with you? What would inspire you besides being from Fremont would be a parallel connection link?
Well, for the longest time until recently, I had a Yorkie.
Okay.
Instant parallel connection, right? Oh my God, you have a Yorkie? I have a Yorkie too. And we start talking about Yorkie things, we're friends. But now that I no longer have a Yorkie.
Can I tell you what I think of parallel connection would be?
Sure.
Camera.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You start talking about, you have a camera?
No, No, I would say no. When people start talking camera stuff to me, I check out because that's my job.
So how would
I
they
don't
connect
feel
with
like I'm connecting when people, oh, you're a Canon.
Travel?
I have a Canon too. Can I show you something cool? That's boring to
Was
me.
that a Swedish?
Even more,
accent?
I just made that up. Even more boring is when someone comes up to me and tries showing me the photography work that they've
Oh, no,
done.
that's
That's
different.
like,
That's a show up.
that's not. But a good connection with me
Travel?
would be travel, places that you've been to. Food are amazing. I love anything to do with food and gelato and ice cream.
Fashion?
No, I'm not so much of a fashion person. But when it comes to travel,
Gelato.
food,
Gelato and ice cream.
yeah, podcasts, because I love listening to them, right? So anything like that, or in the creative space, like movies that you've seen or plays or anything in a creative setting, I love.
So on your, let's say, name card or business card you get from somebody, one of those notes should be that parallel connection. Where do you actually connect in a parallel area? Sashin is fashion. He is all around travel. He's around opulence. Let's call it decadence. He loves decadence. So those are, if you have those parallel connections, it can't just be a like of yours. It has to be something that you actually have. So it's difficult to have parallel connections with people that are so outside your social sphere, but a parallel connection is what links you to somebody. And that's where you build your foundation to create a relationship with that person, okay? Is that parallel connection. So identify always what is that parallel connection. Don't forget it, because at times I mix my parallel connections with somebody else. Like, for example, here in Los Angeles, vegans are very popular. Being a vegan is something that you see often. And if I accidentally link my parallel connection with that person with a restaurant that's non-vegan, it throws off the connection with them. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that restaurant. They serve the veal. It's horrible. So you have to be very, very cautious on what your parallel connections are so you don't ever misrepresent yourself with them, okay? Parallel connections. Once you know that, it allows you to build your relationship from knowing somebody as an acquaintance, creating a friendship relationship with them, and then you go from good friend, great friend, best friend, partner. This is a partner, my life partner here. So she went through the same mechanism. We found parallel connections. We became acquaintances, friends, good friends, best friends, partner. So we did it in an accelerated way. But a parallel connection is what's going to allow you to build towards that top pyramid of your relationship.
All right, I'd like to go through some more of these questions. One question, well, one advice request is,
Yes.
when it comes to making new friends, if you're introverted, what do you do? And how do you keep in contact with them?
Thank God for social media.
Yes, thank God for social media, but here's something to try when you're introverted. First of all, make it a game. Have fun with it. So what I do is, because, you know, I seem all bubbly and fun, and oh my God, Sandy's so nice, she's so funny, it's true, you know it. And I have to tell you, I can be very introverted. I don't want to go out. I don't want to meet people. I got my wall up. I'm like, okay, I'm in my house and I got my TV and I've got my work and I'm happy. You can leave me alone. Okay. So the best thing to do is make it a game. So practice in tiny, tiny baby ways. Start out simply by going to the grocery store. Go to the grocery store and speak to the clerk, because you know what? Most people, when they're checking you out at the grocery store, are bored. It's monotonous. It's routine. People are rude to them. They're impatient. They're being snippy, like, hurry up. So when you go to the grocery store, start having a conversation with the checkout clerk. And so how's your day? Start with that one. They'll tell you it's either bad or it's good. And then play with them. Tell them about your day. Ask them what was the most exciting thing that's ever happened to them while they were checking someone out, or what's the most weird thing someone's ever purchased. But make it a game. And do that when you go to any location. If you're ordering, I know we do it just for fun, okay? So anywhere we go to order food. Ken has this great habit of always asking, what's your name? To the person who's actually making the food or serving the food.
I do that. Yeah, everywhere we go.
So the gas attendant, wherever we are, Ken's like, what's your name? And then he jokes with them and goes, that's my name. And then they go, oh my God, your name is Shalondwa? And he's like, no, but it was funny. And then they laugh. So make it a game, have fun with it. And it's practice. Remember, confidence comes from doing things over and over and over. So if you're feeling introverted and you don't want to do it, start with little baby places. Go with little tiny small things. You don't need to get their phone number and be best friends with them, but just practice that engagement.
Real quick.
Yes.
I want to make sure we all realize that building your network of relationships, you need to do it before you need your network of relationships. So for a while, a couple of years ago, everybody wanted to do something called crowdfunding. I want to crowdfund my project. I have this great game or this business, and I'm going to use the crowd to fund it. So they would go on to something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo to get people to fund their projects. And the thing they neglected to realize is they needed to have a crowd to fund it. They always thought about the funding part, not the crowd part. And then they go, oh, I got to build my network now. And it's too late. See, the idea is by building your network today is what's going to allow you to fund your ideas and passions later. So don't think you could build your network now and use your network right now. It's a delayed effect, delayed gratification from your networks. So understand you need to do this even though you may not need it at this moment. You need it later, and you need it to be ready when that time comes, okay? So delayed gratification on your network. So build your networks now when you don't necessarily need them so you can actually use them later on.
Yes, correct. And in order to maintain these connections, because that's the question I'm seeing a lot in here, how do you maintain these connections that you're making? Well, one good thing is reach out to them every so often. So you can set that on a calendar, put it on a timer. So if it's someone that you met, send them a text message saying, hey, haven't spoken to you in a while, would love to reconnect. When can you have a time for a quick chat, right? Ken does it often. How many people do you speak with in a day?
I used to make 200 phone calls a day. I used to, and I need to get
now
back
he's
to
busy
it.
with me, so he
I
can't
do have a,
do it.
well, you know, I look at people as my
Makes
product.
like 190.
No. I make sure that I try to meet, not as much as I used to, but my goal was to meet 15 new people every day. Every day, meet 15 new people. Now, I want to go back to what Sandy says, and it's important. And that is, remember, you probably may not be the best networker in the world. Let me give you an example. It's going to blow your mind. I don't think Sachin is a great networker. He goes to great networking events, and he puts good networking events together, but getting to know him, it's very difficult because everybody wants a piece of him, similar to us. So the idea is, how do you become, and you hear me use this all the time, an individual of dominant influence by creating an epicenter of opportunity? And the way to do this is, Sandy, you asked, how do you stay connected with people? Do things. Every Sunday, watch this, and she knows the answer right away. What do we do every Sunday morning?
A hike.
Every
Sunday. There are Sundays where I'm like, oh, I don't want to hike. But we do it.
And the reason why is because it brings people together. And this is where I believe my communication skill is I'm a present communicator, meaning be in my presence and I will communicate great. Get me on a phone, on a text message or an email, forget about it. So like the winning edge, we're going to be together. We're going to have presence. And I want to do things with you while we're together. Once I'm gone, it's super hard to get a hold of me. It's just because everybody else is trying to do it. Same thing with her.
Yeah.
When we're in presence, it's because it's a gift of one another, is when things get done better. So how do you make sure you're staying in contact with all these people? Do things. Do a dinner party once a month. Invite. There's a great party I went to. It was called the Plus One Party. Ever tell you about this? So you had to go to a party and bring a plus one that was more impressive than you. And you could not tell anyone who your plus one was until you all did an introduction to each other. So you introduced your plus one. And it was incredible, right? So plus one parties, we're talking about doing, Halloween's a big deal here in the United States, doing a Halloween party. I still want to do it. We do dinner parties. We just did Mo Magic came out and he did a little magic party, which we call the dessert party. So we do constant events to make sure our networks are always communicating with one another. It might be a pain in the butt to do at times, but it's so fruitful because your network is working together.
And here's the secret. So since we're, in a way, introverts, I don't like going places, right? Do you like going places?
No,
I mean, we go on our hikes,
either.
but that's different. That's also for fitness. But we don't like going places. Like, we got invited for dinner tonight, and we're like, oh, God, we got to drive to the other side of town. Oh, my God, yeah, it's torture. So here's the plan. We plan all of the parties in our home, at our events, around us, so people come to us. So if you don't want to go places, plan it so they come to you. But if you don't like people coming to you, then plan it so they go places. Whatever works best for you, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, always, again, create the epicenter of opportunity. Create it. As long as you create it, you make the rules. You want to own the rule structure, okay? And there's warm-up things you can do to get people excited. You can do all these different things too, but remember, you create the environment. You literally design what's going to happen, okay? We have more questions. I know
Okay.
that.
Here we go. Let's see.
Because I got more
Here's
stuff.
a good one. From Aradna. I think I'm good at connecting, but I struggle with bridging the gap between connecting and then later prospecting them for business. That one is an awesome question. I'm so glad you asked that one. I've had that same situation because I'm a high ticket photographer, which means people pay a lot of money to have me take their pictures. And when you become friends with them, and then there's that point where you have to go, okay, you should hire me, it can be a little awkward. So the best thing to do is live by example, especially with what you're doing in the travel network space. If you are constantly living by example, you're traveling, you're talking about it, you're writing about it, you're giving people the experience, and through your words and what you're experiencing and doing, they're going to naturally want to be part of it. You can't push anyone to do it, but it'll allow them to ask questions and inquire, and that's your opportunity to go, oh, if you're ever interested, you can join, or we can bring you on board, but just live by example. Through my photography, I don't actively sell to my friends, but all of my friends have hired me because
But hired you at the real price.
At the regular rate.
Right.
I don't give them a discount. I also make it very clear, this is friendship, this is business. These are my business rules, and I won't extend or stretch my business rules just because you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, I make that super clear. Like, okay, I'm giving you this extra thing because you're my friend. I don't ever give this to anyone, but I'm going above and beyond and giving you this extra special thing because you're my friend. But just know, that doesn't normally happen. I make it very clear. I make sure that they have a thorough understanding. They also have to pay for it.
I like what you said. By living through example, when people are in Sandy's network or relationships, they say something, and I love hearing that. And they go, I can't afford you yet.
Yet.
What they just said is, I want to be able to pay you what your value is. So they automatically know the value of what her thing is, because she's incredibly good. So by living through example, you're going to meet lots of people that can't afford you yet. But if you live that life that they desire, they're going to want to do what you do and pay you for what you are.
Yeah.
But it takes time.
Another way to do it is also ask them. So if they're sort of giving you the vibration that they want to be part of it, but maybe they can't afford it or they're not sure right then, don't ask them directly. Ask them if they know someone.
Exactly.
Get referrals. And then if they spark that interest, you can always say, well, if you get me X amount of referrals, I can connect you in this way, right? So sometimes when it's dealing with people that you're connected with and making that weird, awkward space, bring it whole, just like I said, live from example and then ask them how they can help you. There's something that actually you told me a long time ago, was when you ask someone for help, they are more committed and dedicated to helping you with that problem, and they feel like they're part of it and they're going to do a better job. So if you want person A to sign up for your service, but you feel awkward about asking them, ask person A, I'm looking to get 5 more people signed up. Do you know anyone that you could connect me with that you think would do well by this? And allow them to give you, oh my gosh, I totally want to do it. Or allow them to say, yes, let me give you this list of people. Again, you're living by example. The people that they bring to you are living by example. And eventually you'll get them into the fold.
Believe in the power of connection, everyone. Believe it happens. Don't put a time parameter on it. It does take time. It's like planting a seed. Whatever those fruits are later on, they may not be financial initially. Remember, everybody needs one main thing, and that's resources. Okay? Resources allow you to get access, and access then gets you the things you need. But you have to get it to a point to where those resources become abundant. So don't look at people going, how much are they worth to me? How much are they worth? Don't do that. Just know who is wasting your time. Eradicate the ones that waste your time, but the ones that add value and you add value to them, it becomes reciprocal. It's back and forth. I know we got a bunch of questions. I wrote some things out I just wanted to bring up, and that is, if you believe in the power of connection, it takes time and patience, you'll actually see things happen. And what I'm going to do is, before we leave, I'm going to show you how to network like you really mean it. I'm going to call it how to connect like you really mean it. That's the last thing I'm going to do, before we go to a lot of our questions. What else we got?
Okay. Oh, for another question?
We have another question?
Yeah, one more question. Usually I meet people and we kick it off during our first conversation. I get their number, follow them on social media. What I struggle with currently is staying connected to those people. What do we even talk about?
Well, there you go. There's our parallel connection. What is that
It's
parallel
from
connection?
Sanvos. I think I said that correctly. Sanvos. Okay, so first of all, following them on social media. We didn't talk about this, but I do want to touch on this.
TikTok.
TikTok. Okay, I have like 2 followers. I hope I have 3 now. Okay, so the thing with social media, and Ken can speak from example, and I know many people who've had hundreds of thousands of followers, social media can be gone in an instant.
Happened to me.
Just happened to him.
Facebook removed my Facebook. Literally, and
Gone.
said, I can't get Facebook for life.
Ever again. And a lot of his communication was through Facebook Messenger. So even though I think social media is valuable and it can help you share your message, ideally you want to capture people's information and don't rely on Facebook or Instagram or social media. But if it's the only option, so for example, with me, sometimes I have so many people trying to reach out to me that if I gave everyone my cell phone and my email, then I would never have time for myself. I would be just crazy. So I ask them to follow me on my Instagram or I'm pretty much focused on Instagram.
Right.
I don't like Facebook. So I have them follow me on my Instagram. But I also know that at any given time, my Instagram could be obliterated, right? So through my Instagram, I ask them to reach out and go and connect with me on my personal website. It's a way that I capture information. Those emails and contact information that people give to me are mine. I don't have to worry about anything unless I don't pay my hosting company and then they delete my website. But that's very rare. So point is, don't rely 100% on social media. But if you are on social media and you're following them, the best thing to do is engage. Because social media people
Oh, this is interesting. You're
who
right.
are building up their audience and following, they make their money off of engagement. So if you are responding to things that they post, if you are asking questions, if you are telling them how much you like this and giving them a story, the chances of them responding to you are so much greater, and it's helping you build a connection. I can tell you right now, there are 4 people in particular that I am really good friends with now that I only met them through Instagram. Joette is a perfect example. There's a woman named Joette Carrera. I was on Instagram and I was posting my thing and she sent me a direct message saying, I really was taken by what you're saying. It completely resonated with me. I love your work. I said, thank you. And then because I'm the person who likes to engage with people and get to know them, I said, so tell me about you. And her story touched my heart. I totally fell in love with her. I invited her to an attended event that she had to pay for. She made it happen. She couldn't afford it, but she figured out a way to make it happen. And she showed up to my event. And because she made that effort to show up to my event, connect with me, connect with Ken and all of the people there, she was very consistent. Eventually she said, Sandy, do you mind mentoring me? And I absolutely loved her. She was always engaging. She had such great follow through. I said, yes. And now we're really good friends. And because of that, she was in a place where she had no income. Now, she just told me yesterday, she finally got an amazing full-time job. It's her dream job, and she's so happy. So it's just connect, engage, and just keep up on it no matter how
Sandy,
you feel like it's not going.
You know, when someone does something really well, they make it look easy.
Of course.
You make it look easy.
Well.
If you look at Sandy's Instagram posts, there's a lot of content behind every photo. And that's there to spark conversation. And then there's engagement behind everyone that says something. So she's active inside her Instagram community, whatever community you're in. If it's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, make sure you engage. No, because they're coming into your home. You know, it's rented basically because you're rented. Yeah, it's rented because
you can get kicked out at any time.
Facebook can kick you out. But respect that. Just don't look at the likes going, great, I got so many likes and that's it. No, get in there and find out who is liking and go look at their stuff. You know, but share the experience with them. Just don't take them for granted. Social media is a great tool, but I think that social media is just one way of connecting with people. I love birthdays. I have, if you can see, I'm going to show you something.
Oh, I totally have a birthday hack. Okay,
Your
so to
birthday?
get your information in front of people so they don't forget about you, when you give them, so if you have an iPhone, for example, you can create your contact in your iPhone, and then you can share that contact with people. I always put my birthday in there.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and it automatically populates. Once they've saved it to their contacts, it populates in their calendar. So every year, it's like, Sandy Griggs for birthday! And they're like, who's this? And they click it, and it's me. I can't tell you how many people send me birthday messages,
Oh, that's smart.
emails, and go and find me on social media and wish me happy birthday because I've embedded myself into their contacts.
I love
That's
that.
one birthday
You know,
secret
I
tip.
love doing this. Who is that?
That's a Redna.
And look at, there she is. She's
I
watching
know,
us.
she's so cute. I love her.
Yeah, but I want to make sure we all know, let's make sure we connect with each other on social media and watch her stories, learn about our life. There is a girl I'm trying to set up with another South African, by the way. And I have learned so much about her life that I know how to connect her with other people now because of what her stories say. So make sure you just don't passively utilize social media. Dive into it. Instagram is a good narration of what people want you to see them as, but take advantage of that. Any other questions? Because I want to dive into something.
Okay, last one. Oh, someone wants to know, how do you manage to meet 50 people every day?
15, 1-5 every day. I would literally go off and create every day a little Rolodex on who I met, how I met them. The gym is a good place. You have to go at different times at the gym because if you go at the same time all the time, it's the same people. So you would actually move around the gym. I would make sure I go into bookstores. I would go into libraries. I would go to wherever people go so I could meet them. And then, of course, events. There's so many free events you could go to.
Yep.
Meetup.com is a great website. Tells you what's going on locally. If you're not in things like, what's the speaking thing that people like to go to? Toastmasters. Toastmasters, join these groups that are free that allow you to meet and connect with people. Always be in the art of connecting.
Another really good way to connect is volunteer.
Oh, yes.
Find an organization that's local to you that you love and volunteer.
Parallel connections. Remember, you're volunteering. Let's just say you're doing it for a wildlife society out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a parallel connection with somebody. Good idea.
There will be other people there that relate and connect and might be perfect, not just to have friendships with, but to build your business with. So go and volunteer. Find something. It doesn't have to be every day. I mean, for the longest time, I used to volunteer in Los Angeles at the Food Coalition. So I would go on, it was different each day. You had to go anytime between 5:30 and 6:30 and you could volunteer. So I would go sometimes on a Thursday, sometimes on a Saturday. They did it every single day. I would help in the kitchen and then I would go out to the street and I would serve the homeless. And it allowed me to connect with people. And I was meeting people from different companies because corporations would send people from the offices and be like, this is volunteer day. And they would go volunteer and they would have their logoed shirts from their companies and they would all be there in teams. And that was how I made friendships and connections and built my relationships.
You're not going to meet anybody by sitting at home.
And Netflix is great, but it's not going to have you connect with anyone.
No, you got
Save
to
your
get
Netflix
out.
from when you're on the stair climber for 45 minutes and you're bored.
That's
you're
it,
alone,
right.
You
when
need
you're
to watch
in one
Netflix.
spot.
That's when I do it. On
I
the
know
little,
you
what's that thing called? The elliptic.
The elliptical. You're really good at it.
Boring.
No, it's not boring.
Even when I'm not watching my Netflix shows, it is.
Okay, you want to do this?
Yes.
And it is entitled, I wrote this out earlier. Go ahead, say it.
How to network like you really mean it.
Yes, number one is figure out who matters most. Meaning, when you're at a networking event, look around the room. Generally, whoever is running the network event, you want to network with and connect with them because they brought people there. That means they have a Rolodex, old school person saying that, or a good contact list.
Or a bag of business cards.
They matter the most is the one who's putting on the event. So you need to connect with them and then who they're associating with. Who matters most is number one. What is number two?
Ooh, pick your next tier.
What do you think that means?
That means when you're picking tiers, the first one, go to the next one. I don't know your notes.
Up
I'm
your
a real
game.
like I do.
Up your game, okay? Always make sure you're going to the next level. Don't go to an event where it's people that are beneath you. You always want to make sure you're shooting higher. I love when I meet coders, like computer coders. They always go, yeah, I'm going to go to this event, but I'm going to go learn this next one by going to this other event. So they find the next tier to elevate their game. Always elevate yourself. When you're networking, don't make it a sport. You are competing in that environment. You're connecting at the next level. Number three.
Find easy ways to engage everyone else.
Okay. How do you engage with people at an event?
You know, okay, here's a perfect example. When I'm at an event, for example, I would regularly attend Brendan Bouchard's events, and he did, he's done so many. I've done High Performance Academy, I've done Experts Academy, I've done them all. And the way that I engaged was I immediately signed myself up for the higher tier. So when I joined, I wasn't joining general. I joined in the CEO executive level right away. Then when I was there, I made a point to do the things that I knew would improve his event, and it didn't cost me anything. One of those things was when speakers are on stage, they love it when the audience is up and excited and moving. So I knew his event from being there a few times was people would get kind of excited, but they were kind of low key, like we're conservative and professional. We're gonna sit in our seats and be cool. So I was the girl who got up and started dancing and raising my hands and woo woo. And I was the one having fun. And because people would see me do that, then they started joining in and they started having fun. And then Brenda Bouchard goes, who's that girl? And why is she having more fun? And I became part of his inner circle. So when you want to connect and make yourself stand out, do something that's unexpected that allows people to watch you and be part of it.
Don't you think it's a little easier for girls?
No, because there's guys that do it too. I know a guy, actually. I did his pictures. His name is Sterling Alexander.
We don't use names here.
I'll use his name because he's awesome. So
I know Sterling.
I know Sterling because I know everybody. I'm cool like that. So back in the day when I was doing Tony Robbins, Sterling Alexander was the guy who wore the loud shirts and stood on the chair and would go, woo, woo, woo. So he stood above everyone else deliberately. And everyone was like, who is this weird guy? And I said to him, Sterling, your business is doing great, but your pictures suck, like terrible.
So you connected with him that way?
I connected with him and he goes, you're right. Can you fix it? And I said, yes, I can. And I did his pictures, and now he's huge on social media. So if you look him up, Sterling is huge, 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 huge.
Pictures done by
Pictures done by me. So the point is, set yourself apart and make people want to enjoy in the fun that you're giving, because people always want to be part of something.
Well, it's infectious.
It's infectious.
Number 4.
If you want to connect with someone, find a way to help that person. Ooh, that's a big one.
It's true, isn't it?
So true.
But don't go, how can I be of service to you? Don't say that. I hear everyone, oh, I'm here to be of service to everyone. Then go into the missionary, okay? Go join a mosque, be an imam, be a priest or a rabbi or whatever. No, you are not in service of them. Don't say that's slavery, okay? Don't do that. You are there to find a way to help, not to be of service to them, okay? Don't even go, hi, how can I help you? Don't do that. People are not.
What should they say?
This is different. Parallel connections again, right? The minute you identify parallel, Sandy, she's a photographer, right? How will I gain access to her? I would actually say, Sandy, I was just checking out your Instagram. You're incredible. I have a friend of mine that I know you need to meet because he could definitely use your stuff. He's at the top of his game, but he just, yes, you.
Yes.
I just helped her and I connected with her because I found a parallel connection.
And I'm like, you are awesome.
Yes.
I like this guy.
Okay. That's it. Don't be how will I be of service to you. Oh, I hate when I hear that. All right. We are at number 5.
Number 5, be intriguing.
What does that mean, do you think?
Let's add a little bit of mystery. That's really important.
Okay.
Don't give too much away.
So first thing I do when I meet people is I shake hands. So when I shake hands, if they give me a bad handshake, I actually I don't do that. I re-grab their hand and I go, let's do that better. So I connect with them by showing them how it's properly done on a handshake. And if they say, oh, wait a second, we do it differently here, then they teach me something. There's a mutual connection. Or how about this one? You know when people hug and they go heart to heart, which by the way, the heart is not in the middle of the chest. They go, you have to do it right to the middle. Wait, let me rephrase that. The heart is not on the left side. It's actually more centered in the middle. So when people say, oh, you go heart to heart, which is left to left, I go, no, that's not actually right. I don't want to offend them, but I want to show, let's hug this way. And I show them a different way of hugging. I create an intriguement point without offending anyone, by the way, because some people don't want to be touched. You're okay. I like touching you.
Well, that's different, right?
But find a way to intrigue them without offending or talking down to a person. Handshakes work well. You have a way of being intriguing? Just being you.
Oh, well, one of the things to not do when you're trying to be intriguing is name dropping. Now, I dropped a couple names because I was giving an example. But when you go and you meet someone, you're like, oh, I know Bob Smith.
Unless there's a
because
parallel
Bob
connection.
Smith is super famous. Just to say it so people think you're cool, that's not so cool. But if it is part of a story that makes sense, or there's that connection, as you had mentioned, then it's awesome. Do it.
Okay. Number 6.
Think people, not positions. Ooh, that's really important.
You get it?
Yeah, explain it.
Okay, let me just tell you something. Right now, I'm in this part of my life to where everybody that started off, that was 20 or 30 years ago, have now achieved. Okay, so they've gone through this whole process. And if I would have looked at only people back then that had certain positions, they would be game over by now. So what I do is I look at people that, to me, have that certain type of, they're going somewhere. I feel like they have that connection to where I see them elevating their game. They're not stagnating. So I look at the person, not that they're CEO, because that CEO title could be ripped away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the essence of the individual, not the title of the individual.
So
Does that
true.
connect?
That's beautiful.
Because a lot of CEOs are people that are at a hired position, being they're hired in that job can be taken away, and it happens quite often.
Number 7, give before you ask.
There you go. Not of service, but find a way. I helped you. I got a great person.
Thank you.
And all of a sudden now, Sandy, it's not about she feels guilty she's not helping me, or she feels indebted. She just feels, because we're at the same type of person, that she wants to help me now too. It's reciprocal. It's back and forth. And number 8.
Be generous. That one's really important.
Generous also means with time. Okay, let me give you a great example. When I meet somebody, and I did this often in South Africa when I met somebody of stature and power, is when they did not give me their attention. They had their phone on with them, they had their headphones on, their eyeglasses on, sunglasses. I asked them to remove their sunglasses, take out their Bluetooth headphones, put the phone down. So I wanted to have mutual connection. And if I was doing the same thing, I would do the same thing. Meaning, I want to be generous with my time and my presence. Be generous with who you are. Don't try to be talking to everybody. Zone into that one individual, connect with them, and be generous with who you are in your time and your presence. It's a little different than what most people are going to think. Not generous by giving them money.
Yes, generous time. Okay, we have 2 questions that I want to quickly answer
Go
before
for
we wrap this up. Jodine says, how do you approach someone above yourself? Cause feelings of intimidation, they might come up. Okay, so when you are going up to someone who is successful or famous, try not to gush over them. Because that's like the worst thing you can do. Oh my God, I love you so much. You're just like, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Treat them like everyone else. I can tell you, I have been introduced to some of the most famous people on the planet, like millionaires, billionaires, movie stars, brain scientists. I actually met, okay, take this back. Funny story. Okay, hold up. Can't close your ears. So a few years ago, my friend set me up on a date with the man who invented the cure to aging.
Oh, I know. I want to meet him.
I know. Ken wants to meet him. He's like one of the most famous scientists on the planet.
He's pretty impressive.
He's like mind-blowingly intelligent. But I was sent on a date with him. He was being a little weird. I was like, okay. And he was talking, and I guess he was trying to impress me, which was funny because I was like, okay, whatever. And so he was telling me, he says, he's invented the cure for aging and all this stuff. And I was like, And I'm thinking, okay, you're talking about your work a lot. How do I redirect this for you to like connect with me better? Because I'm not connecting. It's great. And I said, that's great what you're doing, but I'm just not connecting with it. So how can we connect? So I asked him, I don't even remember what it was. I asked him a question about him personally, and he stopped and went, do you know who I am?
Oh, God.
I just told you I invented the cure for aging, and you're acting like it's no big deal. And that's when I went, do you know who I've met? Like,
is that what you did?
I did. I said it to him because I was like, you're not better than anyone else. Yeah, you invented the cure for aging, but I'm still getting older, so obviously it's not working. So, but the point is that I'm making is everyone should be treated as equal. So don't put yourself on a platform or assume that someone else is so much better than you. Treat them the same. So when you go in, just be gracious, be kind, talk about the things that interest you. If you have an opportunity to say hi to them and you do like
but
their work,
diversions are important.
be humble about it.
Diversions. So I'm sitting in a pub, and this is a long time ago, and Paul McCartney is sitting at the end of the pub. I told you the story. And this is 2002 maybe. Paul McCartney. And I'm thinking, I want to get a photo of Paul McCartney. I want a picture with Paul. So he gets up, and as he's walking out, I run up to him. I go, Mr. McCartney, do you mind taking a photo? And he went like, oh, I'm thinking, oh no, he's going to do a horrible photo. He's not even happy. So he goes, yeah, sure. So I give him my camera and I step 5 feet from him. He goes, what? You want me to take a picture of you? I go, yeah. How many people can say Paul McCartney took this picture of me? And he laughed. And then we hung out for like an hour after that. Because I found a diversion to connect with him.
But you didn't gush over him.
No. But I never gush over him. You know that. I treat everybody the same.
So but that's the point. Treat everyone equal. He treated Paul McCartney no different than he would have treated his friend.
Yep.
Here, take my picture right now. So when you go into these situations and you're feeling intimidated, just look at them like they're your best friend or your mom or your sister and just treat them the same as you would anyone else.
All right, last one.
Last one. Honesty is key in network building. How do you maintain it? And that's from Kamal. Honesty. Ken.
Oh, exaggerations. Yeah, be careful of exaggerating. You know, this world of the internet allows you to verify almost everybody. And unfortunately, we find out a lot of people are posers, imposters. And because of the way the internet's set up, you could either create your own story through LinkedIn, and then things like, I would say, the way people can start searching to see if things are BS, not true, they pop up eventually.
Yes.
Always be authentic. So if you want to become something, don't say that you are that. So if you want to become #1 in your industry, you say, I am working towards dominating this territory.
Bingo.
Don't ever, ever say something that's not true, because once that lie pops up, it's a black scar against you for life, or a red scar or a green scar. I don't know. There's a scar, but you never want to have a scar against you, because that will destroy you, okay? And this is really, really important, because you want to make sure you're always being authentic and truthful, because lies will bite you in the butt later on.
Yeah, and you don't want to be removed from a group or excluded from a group because you said something and someone else verified it as to be inaccurate.
I'll make a deal with you guys.
It's just not, it doesn't work out.
On the 7th, when we come down, because we're going to wrap this up. On the 7th, when we come down, we'll help you find your speed to cool, right? That internal cool thing that's inside you, because that is what really sets you apart. Because we've all done something that is so unique that you forgot about it, okay? Like, for example, I forgot that I was kidnapped. Well, almost kidnapped when I was a kid. My brother was kidnapped.
Well, I would forget that too. That's a traumatic.
No, but I forgot it. I joined a cult. I didn't even know I joined a cult. I was a stripper. But I didn't forget about that.
He
but that's
didn't
another.
forget that one.
Yeah, I was a Chippendale dancer. Right after I got a seminary. Right after I got out of seminary from I was going to become a priest.
Well, there's things that you forgot when we were doing your bio timeline for your new website.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He forgot so much stuff.
Before the next mentor webinar, we should have my new site up.
Yes.
KenRakowski.com. And it's interesting. Sandy went through a process of just doing Q&As with me. And I literally have forgotten things about myself. And maybe that's part of the exercise. And that is, have somebody interview you.
Yeah.
To find out about yourself.
We forget so much. Like, I forgot that I hitchhiked across South America for a while.
You did?
I did. I was like a bad girl. Don't do that. It's like stupid. I was like 19 and dumb as a brick. Like, I'm gonna hitchhike. No, don't do it. So my point is, we forget things, but at the same time, when I tell people that, they think that's cool.
So I invited a lot of people from the Winning Edge of the Inside. This is Winning Edge Africa. We do this once a week, and we get a great group of people together. We have different stars, like we had Emmanuel Kelly join us. Last week you had you had Mo Magic, and you had Maya Warren, who won the Amazing Race and the Ice Cream Scientist. So we had people on. I was actually trying to get Akon on. We'll get him on in the future, and some other cool people. But make sure you join us every single week. We do this on Wednesday nights. This is your mentor session, your ideas. We want to thank Laura for helping us co-host this. She's in the background. She's sitting there, and she's making sure we're on par all the time. And Sandy, thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah. Are we going to be in Africa December 7th?
Yes, we are. And where can you buy tickets? winningedge.world.
Get on there. Boom. Get the tickets. And everyone, thanks a lot for joining us. And we really appreciate your excitement.
We can't wait to see you there.
See you guys. TikTok.
Bye,
join our TikTok.
Tiffany follows me on TikTok. She's so awesome. I followed you back.
All right, everyone. Talk to y'all later. Bye.